Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Texas Rangers World Series Champions Overtime here on StarTelegram.com, brought to you by Window Nation. Clarence, the Rangers won the World Series just like I told you they would back in March. Do you have your rally towel?
I do not have a rally towel, but I do have a World Series hat and a shirt.
I saw that.
And I paid $7,500 for. Price gouging, Rangers. Price gouging.
Oh, no doubt about it. Well, Corey Seager's got to be paid somehow. The Texas Rangers have won the World Series. I was there in Arizona to see the Rangers go 11-0 on the road in the postseason, thus guaranteeing the Rangers during their World Series run would win only 2 home games all postseason. Clarence, it's good to see you. He's Clarence E. Hill Jr. I'm Matt Kingle. We got a lot more pressing things to talk about here on Cowboys Overtime. Clarence, it is Moral Victory Monday here on Tuesday. I don't know who came up with this idea. I think it's you. I'm going to blame you. Did the Cowboys get a moral victory in Philly? If I was sitting next to you right now, I would smack you upside the head so hard. Bam! Bam! Bam!
And you get smacked back.
Get your hands up. Get your hands up. You know what I mean?
This came Philly with Joe Frazier, baby. I know how to block.
Well, you better, because I'm coming hard after Moral Victory Monday. Have the Cowboys stooped that far? That far? Because now, as you and I both know, the Rangers have won a championship more recently than the Dallas Cowboys, who now are celebrating moral victories against the Philadelphia Eagles. Cowboys lose on Sunday in an amazing game. That's one of the most exciting regular season games I've seen in a while. Absolutely crazy final quarter. Cowboys get inside the 5-yard line 10 times. They don't score any points, and they lose 28-23. Clarence, I don't ask a lot of you. In fact, I don't ask a lot of anybody. Walk me off this ledge. Why is this a good loss?
You know, words matter, and, I need a headline. I don't necessarily think it's a good loss. No loss is good. No loss to your division rival is good. But it did show who the Cowboys are. They are a contender. They are a team that can play right there with the Eagles. This is not the same team that played the 49ers. They've been a different team since that 49ers game. And while they was a setback, this remains a team going in the right direction. If you put their 3 games together since that 49ers game, how they played against the Chargers, how they played against the Rams, certainly how the offense went up and down the field against the Eagles. They didn't win it, but they were right there on the road against the 8-1 Eagles team. I said last week, we should not make a referendum on the Cowboys if they lose this game. They should lose this game on the road against the Philadelphia Eagles, a contender at home. They're 8-1 for a reason. Jalen Hurts has not lost to a winning club in 2 years. I mean, they're a good team, but this Cowboys team is on the same par with the Eagles, and that's what they showed. They didn't win, not a moral victory, but if they continue to take care of business, continue playing the way they played, the next time they get the Eagles at AT&T Stadium, where they are undefeated, where they dominate, where they've had a lot of success, they could be playing for the division lead. The Eagles have a tough schedule. They have the Chiefs. They have the 49ers. They have a couple of games that they're tough compared to the Cowboys, who basically have this year's version of TCU on the schedule. And we'll get back to that at the end of this show. But, they got the Giants, who are playing their third quarterback. They got Carolina, who's not won a game. They got Washington, who got rid of the best 2 defensive players, best 2 pass rushers, and we're not going to give them credit for beating the Patriots because everybody's beating the Patriots these days. And they have, a Seattle team who's
okay.
Okay, but they just got their doors blocked off on the road at Baltimore, so they should take care of business. I said they had 4 the next 6 games at home before the Eagles. I said the Cowboys should go 5-1 in this stretch. I had them losing to the Eagles, and if they go 5-1 in this stretch, they're sitting pretty for that rematch against the Eagles to really show that they're ready.
I don't disagree with anything that you really said. I think the thing as an observer, whatever you want to call it, is that this really isn't too dissimilar than what we saw the last 2 seasons, where the Cowboys are good. They are. They're around it. And I think what they showed in that game against Philadelphia, and there's no less than 10 plays that you can really dissect and say, oh, geez, man, if that had gone a little bit differently, then we're looking at a different outcome. I mean, first of all, the touchdown pass to Luke Schoonmaker, the rookie tight end, on the fourth down in the fourth quarter, how the referees missed the pass interference call on that is just unbelievable. And then Schoonmaker catches it, but where he is being tackled before he's even catching that ball and where his knee lands, it's before the ball crosses the end line, the goal line. It's a bad rule. It's a terrible rule that they need to fix. So, okay, that changes the game, but it doesn't. The Eagles got a short field. They're pinned up against it. They punt. Dallas go all the way down. They score the touchdown.
Now, before the punt, let me stop you now. Okay. I'm gonna let you finish. They fumbled the ball. Eagles fumbled the ball 3 times. Okay.
Oh yeah, they don't get
fumbled the ball. They gifted the Cowboys the ball, and Michael Parsons couldn't jump on. That's why it's a game of inches. But they fumbled the ball. Now they had to punt, and the Cowboys come right down the field in in 40 seconds, almost like OU against Texas, which still a nightmare.
Oh, wait a minute, time out. You and I are talking about different sequences. I'm talking about after Schoonmaker, after they don't get the touchdown,
right?
Then Philly's got a punt. Dallas races in a second back down the field. They get the touchdown on the 2-point conversion. Yeah. Dak Prescott's got the 2 points, and he's out of bounds by 6 inches.
Right,
6 inches.
Like Kevin Durant, his big
right. In the Brooklyn Nets series against
Milwaukee, right?
Totally. It's 6 inches. He's out of bounds. 6 inches. He's out of bounds. 2 points don't count. Okay, so there's 9 points that totally change the game. So now Dallas gets the ball back, punt it away, whatever. Philly gets it. They force it. And in that sequence, you're right. They fumble it on the 3rd down play, and Micah Parsons has the ball go through his hands.
That's crazy.
It's lunacy, and it's one of the reasons why we love the NFL so much. Dallas gets gifted a couple of crazy penalties. They're inside the 5 with plenty of time. And then all they do is go backwards on the next couple of plays. Dak has to throw. Now there's another one. Babe Laufenberg, the color commentator of the Cowboys, brought this up. What they should have done, because they had enough time to do it, they had 2 plays to get something off. Rather than trying to throw from their own 25, what they should have done was to run a short out and to make that last pass attempt shorter. They didn't. Dak's got to throw something to CeeDee Lamb at the 5. The Eagles are waiting for it. They're on them. The game's over. Dallas loses. I think for me, the struggle I have with this is there's a lot of positives to take away from this game, a ton. And this is not the team that we saw get just boat raced and humiliated in Santa Clara against the 49ers like a month ago now. The challenge for me is like, damn it, this is the same thing I've seen again. And there's nothing that I've seen so far that indicates me that they'll get in January. They're going to play meaningful games in the playoffs. I just haven't seen anything that gives me an indication that they're going to get past these types of games against these types of teams in January. And even they're going to win 10, 11 games. It's a good team, but I still don't see them being on that echelon above where they need to be a Super Bowl winner. Am I wrong? Sorry.
Your dog says you're wrong. Your dog says you're wrong.
Your
dog says you're wrong. See?
I knew this was going to happen at some point. I'm sorry. The mailman's at the door. Let me see if I get the dog. Hazel, come here. All right. Did you watch the Manning cast last night?
I did
you see
not.
Arnold Schwarzenegger feed its donkey? Come here, silly. Come here. Bear with me. All right. This is my little friend. Yeah. What do we got?
Y'all look alike.
She didn't agree.
Y'all look okay? Alike. She didn't agree. That's okay. She didn't agree. Give her something to eat. Let her lick your face.
What is she? See?
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. So, I can't believe we've done like tons of these. I'm like, how is the dog not interrupted one of these? So tell me why I'm wrong. Why?
Well, I think why is the next topic. The next topic is the amazing play of Dak Prescott.
Okay. And I've written all this down. Let me go over the stats, and then you can go. Against Philadelphia, 29 of 44. I'm not crazy about a quarterback throwing more than 40 times, but he had to because that's the way the game went. 29 of 44.
They have no running game.
They really didn't. 29 of 44, 374 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. He was sacked 5 times. That's a different topic, but we're going to get into that in a minute. For the season, he's completing 70% of his passes, 2,011 yards, 13 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and you've covered every one of his games. I don't think you've missed maybe one of his games, maybe one. And you say this is the best that he's playing in his career, correct?
Oh, I think so. And I think it goes back to when you ask what's the difference is, and the Cowboys did not climb the hill in the playoffs the last couple of years because their offense did not show up. And Dak did not have his best games. And this is a different Dak because
what's different about him?
Because it's dual threat Dak. It's yes, he didn't get out of bounds on that play, but he runs like it's funny because he runs like there's a refrigerator on his back. I mean, he's not a nimble guy, but he's mobile. And his mobility is what has unlocked this offense since the 49ers game. He talked about it, that he has to use his feet more. Mike McCarthy talked about it. Schottenheimer talked about it. That's part of this offense is him getting beyond the 2.3 and as far as the 2.3 seconds on the clock, how they have the passing game tied to his feet and being able to move and get out of there and make plays either to throw or to run for first downs, which he has not done the past couple of years coming off that knee. I mean, that ankle injury, that torn ankle, that fractured ankle he had in 2020. He made a conscious effort to be more of a pocket passer, not put himself in harm's way. Well, that's out the window. That for this offense to live up to his expectations, they need Dak to be more dual threat, Dak to be almost Mississippi State Dak. And that's been the difference in this offense the last 2 weeks. And if he continues this trajectory, I think they have a better chance to succeed in the playoffs.
I actually think you're right. It doesn't mean they will, but
there's no guarantees.
No, but if you look at the last 3 playoff games, 2 of them he's been bad.
Right. He did not run, and he should have run more in the 49ers game and in the playoffs last year. Do
you think he's scared because of the ankle injury that he suffered?
No, I don't think it was scared. It's about being smart. I mean, they talked about it. I mean, I remember, after the injury, they talked about being smart and not doing this and putting yourself in because you got hurt running. But just talking to Schottenheimer, that's part of this game. I mean, the Tom Brady type quarterback, the Peyton Manning type quarterbacks, that's out the window. I don't know, Mac is gone. He's whatever. But that's out the window. The threat of the quarterback run is in college football. It's a big part of pro football. You look at all the quarterbacks from Joe Burrow, they have the ability to move and make plays with their feet. You have to use that because defensive ends, the defensive players are so talented. And you have to be able to move to make plays because the Cowboys' offensive line is not very good. And he's getting unreceived there in that pocket. So he has to use his feet, make plays, do the scramble play. It creates big plays for your receivers. And certainly helps move the chains and get first downs for your offense. But that's the difference. It wasn't an issue of being afraid. It was an issue of trying to be smart. And sometimes you can be smart and be dumb. And that's not who you are at your core.
We have a lot more to talk about, specifically one particular player on this offensive line. But first, Clarence, we got to take a break for our good friends at Window Nation.
Window Nation, the star of window replacement and proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys, can help you fill the house this season with savings. Buy 2 windows, get 2 free, and make no interest payments for 60 months, 5 full years. Fill your house for a customized authentic Dallas Cowboys jersey while supplies last. You could even help fill the Cowboys house and win tickets to a game. Visit windownation.com/Cowboys now for details. Call 866-95-NATION. Window Nation, proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Window Nation is back.
Thank you. I'm back. Sorry, I had a small technical difficulty. I'm having a day here. I'm telling you what. Okay, you talked about offensive line. Thank you, Window Nation. You talked about offensive line. That fourth quarter was painful to watch for a variety of reasons. Number one, Terence Steele, the right tackle, is a good guy. And for a while there, he might have been their best offensive lineman. But last season, he suffered an Achilles injury. Achilles or ACL?
He tore an ACL.
Excuse me.
Last
December, and he rushed back, and he's not the same guy. He's just not. And what we saw there in the fourth quarter, against Hassan Reddick of the Eagles, and really anybody they lined up against him.
Brandon Graham, everybody
destroyed him. I mean, it was the closest thing I'd seen to the Chaz Green game in Atlanta from a couple years ago in a long time. I mean, Terence Steele was terrible. Dak Prescott was sacked 4 times, and I apologize. He was sacked 5 times. Hazel, come here.
No,
sacked 5 times. Sorry, he was sacked 5 times. And Clarence, you said, is he a liability? Is he a liability?
At this point, and it's sad because, first of all, he was never the best offensive lineman. Okay, that
you don't think he was at one point? He was the best lineman. Well, no, he wasn't better than Jack.
He was never the best offensive lineman. I mean, he played well for undrafted free agent, and certainly, again, my issue with the Cowboys. Why do you pay guys coming off ACL? I mean, they paid Michael Gallup coming off ACL, and he's not been that guy, and he won't be on the team next year at that contract. And they just signed Terence Steele to this big deal before the season, coming off ACL. He had really showed that he was back to being the same player he was before the injury, and they already paid him, and so they're locked in. But yeah, it's a problem, and it's funny because coming into the season, we were all worried about Tyron Smith. You know, now, you're worried about Tyron Smith, and they're still concerned about Tyron Smith, but you understand why they're patient with Tyron Smith. His availability is a problem. It's frustrating. But when he's on the field, when Tyron Smith's on the field, he's lights out. He's not giving up nothing. And it's crazy because Micah Parsons ate his lunch every day in training camp, but nobody else is eating on Tyron Smith. Okay, nobody's eating on Tyron Smith.
No, he's been pretty good.
He was great against the Eagles. He's been great when he's been on the field. But the liability, the question mark now is Terence Steele, and the Cowboys have to find a way to get him help.
What are they going to do? Because Clarence, typically Mike McCarthy's not a guy who likes to leave tight ends to block, and he did something there very late in the game because I kept watching it. I'm thinking, what do they get? They got to get some. They left Tony Pollard in finally to help him out. That changes when you need a guy to stay in and block. That changes everything. It's one less guy out running routes. Will they finally have to eat that and maybe commit an H-back, a tight end, somebody? Because if he's going one-on-one against a guy, he ain't blocking anybody right now.
And keeping Tony Pollard in is not the same as keeping Zeke in.
No, but Zeke. But I mean, what do you got? What Rico Dowdle? I mean, what do you do?
That's certainly what you have. But it's a problem. It's an issue. You know, they hope, as the season goes along, he'll, get back to his old self. It takes a while. The ACL injuries. I had an ACL. You're not yourself then next year. It takes a while to get back, and so they're going to have to be patient with him because they have no other options, at tackle. But it was a problem on Sunday, and it's been a problem for most of the season. He has not looked good. Not only gave up 5 sacks, but they gave up like 12 pressures. I mean, all the pressure was coming on that side.
We're going to shift gears now dramatically and go to a different level of football, and that is on Saturday in Fort Worth. We will be witnessing the final game again of TCU hosting and playing Texas in football. Now, I don't know if there's a more disappointing team in major college football this season more than the TCU Horned Frogs. Texas A&M is probably in the conversation, but they always are. TCU last season went to the national championship game. This season, total disappointment. Injuries at quarterback, they're just not very good. They're 4-5. They have 3 games remaining to try to qualify for a bowl. I don't see how it's going to happen. But right now they got to play Texas at home against Baylor in Fort Worth, and then they'll go to play at Oklahoma, which has lost 2 straight games. Texas, however, is right now potentially in the driver's seat to finally make the college football playoff. Now, they had a lot of things go their way on Saturday in Austin, where they beat Kansas State after Kansas State just absolutely handed in the game. But Texas won. Texas is at 8-1 this season. They're ranked 7th in the country. And right now they are a 10-point favorite, which surprises me. I thought it would be a lot higher. Clarence, why isn't that point spread a little bit higher to play against a team, Texas versus TCU?
Do you know who's playing quarterback for Texas?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's not Quinn Ewers, and I don't think they want to put Arch Manning in there. The backup, Malik, he looked pretty good the first half. Second half, he looked terrible.
He looked good.
Do you think that's why this is only a 10-point line?
Of course, yeah. And that's why this game's in the balance. And this is his first road game. His first 2 games have been at home, and has been okay. I mean, he's built a quarterback. He looks like, the quarterback you chip out of the side of a mountain. He's 6'5", beautiful arm, all of this stuff. My issue with Malik is he doesn't play naturally. He doesn't. There's no natural to his game. It's like he
You don't
doesn't
think there's
run.
any
He
flow
doesn't.
to him?
Yeah, there's nothing. It's too robotic, and certainly, and he's never done it before. He only played 1 year of high school football. So there's this. What is he going to do on third down? You get in these situations, and that's why every game is in the balance. I mean, the Texas defense is good enough to win this game. The running game is good enough to win this game, but you need your quarterback to make plays on third down and crucial situations, and and certainly not turn the ball over. And so that's why the spread is what it is because you don't know what you're going to get from the quarterback. But from a TCU standpoint, like most of the teams in the Big 12, they're going to give Texas their best. This is their last shot at Texas. Yeah. Texas leaving them to go to SEC. This is their Super Bowl, after a disappointing season, losing to Colorado over the season, but they can make their fans feel good. The stadium's going to be packed. They're sold out. I see the seats are going for like $400 and whatever else. The seats are really high. The ticket prices are really high for this game. So it's going to be a packed house, and so
I think TCU's got so many problems. I mean, so many. Their leadership issues are well known. The quarterback didn't work out. I think they're going to move on from Chandler Morris, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they think Josh Hoover is their long-term answer. Defensively, they have nothing, and this is why I think this line is wrong. Defensively, TCU has nothing on the front seven other than one kid. They have a defensive tackle who's pretty good. The rest don't have anybody who can play in space. They put way too much pressure on their secondary, which is pretty good. But I don't care how good your secondary is. If you don't have anybody up front making some noise, eventually you just can't hold coverages that long. TCU could have beaten Texas Tech last week in Lubbock. They had the lead in the second half. They blew it because they're just not very good. And, I think they're going to, I don't think they're going to make a bowl, which is almost impossible because every team makes a bowl. All you got to do is win 6 games.
Again,
I don't think they're going to get
I believe all of that, but just like Texas played Houston down to the wire and Houston gets blown out at K-State, just like BYU gave Texas all they wanted, and then BYU gets blown out in West Virginia. TCU is going to give Texas all they want.
I think you're right. And if there was anything that was going to save their season, this is it. More than anything else. They can go into Oklahoma and win in a couple weeks. They won't, but they could. But nothing would mean to them more than this one on Saturday because it would ruin Texas's shot at making the playoff. And Texas is right on the edge anyways at 7-1. All right. Let's move on to before we get to the final subject, I do want to pick some games here, and specifically the Cowboys game. They will host the New York Giants, whose season is a disaster. Total. But here's the crazy part. Daniel Jones, their starting quarterback, is out for the season with a torn ACL. Not that it mattered anyways. The Giants are 2-7. Cowboys are 5-3. Now here's the part that's a wild card. You're predicting the Cowboys to win the game for sure. The line is 16.5. That is an unusually, abnormally crazy high line for an NFL game. Do you think the Cowboys will cover 16.5?
Bet the house.
Ooh. I think you're right.
The Cowboys, first, number one, they don't lose at home.
Nope. It's been a long time.
They certainly want to make up for the Eagles' loss. They have motivation. The Giants team, as you said, is not good. They already traded one of the best defensive players to Seattle. They were out their top 2 quarterbacks. They were out their tight end. They got in a trade from Oakland last year. What do they have to compete with?
Nothing. They weren't even that good to start the season. They were kind of middling, and we thought, I shouldn't say that we thought. I think some observers thought, well, they're getting better. Daniel Jones is good.
They made the playoffs last year, and they thought they will take the next step, and they were taking a step back because it was fool's gold.
Pretty much. And now let's move on to the final topic, which I think my dog took my rally towel. She did. Thanks, Hazel. We finally had a parade. We finally did have a parade. Was the Rangers World Series parade a dud? As someone who went there, you went, I went, battled traffic like I have never seen before. I didn't think it was a dud. I think
it's because you were up front. You had primo seats.
I was not because I got there. I had a family commitment early in the morning, so I got there late and I couldn't get to the media section or any of that other stuff. I was out in the mass of humanity, and to me, I mean, they weren't prepared for 700,000 people because I don't think there's any way to prepare for that unless you've done it, even if you've done it once. To me, I didn't see anybody having a bad time. I saw a fan base and a city and people who were dying to celebrate this
Well,
and to get out. And I didn't think it was did you? You were there.
Well, I think because I encountered, because I went and I saw people leaving as I was coming and families leaving. They were frustrated. Listen, 700,000 people out there having a good time celebrating. Yes, I saw people barbecuing. People, the traffic was crazy. People were parking on the medians on side of the road, just leaving their cars. It was crazy. So they were there and they wanted to have a great time. And I think some people who were up front did. The problem is that they had the players on these Toyota trucks, Toyota Tacomas, and no one can see unless you were in the front row. You couldn't see anything. You were out there with your fellow Ranger fans, but you could not see the players, could not cheer the players. They should have had them on
like
high-rise buses or fire trucks where you could see them and celebrate them and do what else. You couldn't do any of that unless you were on the front row. If you were on the front row, no one could see anything. You just, it was great to parade and everybody's out here, but I got to see no Rangers.
Look at Clarence. How about that? Rain. Literally, Clarence takes this opportunity to rain on the Rangers parade.
I'm not right. Listen, it was a great time, great moment for the city. I've been, talking trash, Rangers trash for the last month against Houston people. I mean, the fact that I've dumped on the Lakers parades and all these little small parades, championship parades across the country. The fact that you had 700,000 people there was awesome. It was awesome. That many people coming out, that was a lot. 52 years, people came out and enjoyed it, but they could have done the parade better.
No doubt. Oh, I everything. I don't disagree with anything you said. And clearly, the problem was they had no idea what they were doing.
All of that.
They didn't. They like all these details. They had never done it before, so it escaped all of them. So now we have had a Dallas Stars parade, Dallas Mavericks parade, and a Texas Rangers parade since we have had a Dallas Cowboys parade. Clarence, will we have a Dallas Cowboys parade in February of 2024?
I can't predict nothing I've never seen. Just get to the championship game. Get to the championship game. Yep. Hey, we didn't know the Rangers were going to do it. Let's not. No one predicted the Rangers parade before the season. It was a beautiful thing that it came out of nowhere that happened, and so that's why you had all this unbridled joy. Let's let it happen. And have some unbridled joy. Let's not worry about that down the road.
My only question is the last question before we wrap this up. If the Dallas Cowboys have not physically been in Dallas since about 1981. They haven't played their games since about 1971 in Dallas when they moved to Irving at Texas Stadium. They moved their corporate team headquarters out of Dallas to Irving in 1980, 81, 82. So they haven't had any. Now they're in Frisco, and now they're in Frisco and Arlington. So will the parade be in Dallas?
Yes, it'll be in Dallas. Jerry lives in Highland Park. There are the Dallas Cowboys. It will be in Dallas.
It'll be in Highland Park. All right, this has been fun. Cowboys versus Giants on Sunday. Expect a blowout. That's at 3:30 at AT&T Stadium. Texas at TCU. That's on Saturday at 6 o'clock. And the big game, Kansas versus Texas Tech, as Kansas powers on to the Holiday Bowl appearance. Clarence, this has been fun for all of your Cowboys and Rangers World Series coverage needs. Be sure to check us out on StarTelegram.com. Thank you, Window Nation. We'll see you next week.
And I'm going to vote right now.
Go to vote.